Assalamu alaikum. I'm Malik Hodge, an angel warrior of the Midwest, and a messenger of the covenant, representing the messenger of the covenant. The breaker of the seven seals, the self-taught one, Master Suleiman, who has given us the Injil, the gospel revelations, with the Injil key that gives us the understanding of the unsealed scriptures. This is Up Late Update with Malik Hodge on this Sunday, August the 14th, 2022. This is where we take current events and give you the understanding from the unsealed perspective. Giving you the understanding of how each topic or current event applies to today's time from the unsealed, the Injil um, perspective. So let us get started. I'm gonna come in with uh, the polio threat. The biggest polio threat in years sparked alarms from New York to California. Officials are concerned after the COVID-19 pandemic fueled a continued backslide in vaccinations for all diseases. Delays in getting children vaccinated during the COVID-19 pandemic and anti-vaccination settlements in general may be fueling the most serious threat of polio in the U.S. in years, raising alarms from New York to California. In the last few weeks, health officials in New York identified the first person in nearly a decade in the U.S. to be diagnosed with polio. The person suffered paralysis. Then the polio virus has been found in wastewater. Not only in two counties in the area where the patient lives, but also as of Friday in New York City, the virus may be rebounding worldwide. The Jerusalem area this year suffered an outbreak, and the virus showed up in London wastewater in June. Now, health experts and officials in California are voicing concern. Okay. Polio being a virus that is showing up that's causing concern. Then we have the monkeypox causing concern. Um, just reading this topic and a reemergence of um, these virus, and the thing that stood out to me is saying that the jab um, from COVID um, may have pushed back the process or the availability of making or keeping um, vaccines available. However, the however, none of those prior vaccines um, had anything. They're not even. Those are more of traditional vaccines, or the way they're have been created or made. Excuse me, and administrated. But the the MRI is really not a vaccine at all. It's a I'm not going because I've been doing this for so long. However, it's an MRI. It's not a typical ordinary vaccine. So it's a whole nother technology. So in that being said, to tie these things in or try to tie them into the possibility of being that, or that's the reason why um, vaccines are not available. Um, it it really doesn't make sense when you're saying that you have one case and how many vaccines have not been given out, you know, uh, that particular type. So it's just like it's just goes to show that um, these viruses that are from what they saying that earlier viruses, older viruses are resurging as monkeypox. Now they're saying that that's resurging. Um, so it's just something to look at. And the thing is, the reoccurrence or the effects that could be taking place from maybe the MRI, the jab, you know, uh, being that some of the research um, or backlash of it show that it produced side effects that attacked your organs, attack your kidneys, and attack your organs. Side effect was blood clots. So um, possibly causing your immune system to uh, fail because of the your system being heightened. So it's a number of things. It's just something to pay attention to when um, these older or known viruses are emerging, and then you look at the area where they're re-emerging at. So you kind of, and they the ones that speak of the jab in the same sentence. So it's just something to pay attention to when you're looking at it. I'm not gonna get too much into it. This platform, I don't want to have any problems on the level of the jab, speaking on their jab. I would stay away from it. Let us go to the next topic. Our next topic is, I guess so. Our next topic, we're going to dealing with the weather. I have two areas in California dealing with extreme weather. Las Vegas casino flooding for the second time in 2 weeks. Water crushed through the ceiling of the some of Las Vegas famous casinos Thursday night as torrential rain flooded the sites for the second time in as many weeks, contributing to an unusual wet monsoon season for the desert city. Video shared on social media showed water entering casino Caesar's Palace and Planet Hollywood on the Strip amid thunderstorms that swept into the area from the north around 8 p.m. Cities was deluged by another storm that unleashed alarming winds and sent water rushing into casinos inside Caesar's hotel and casino. Rain fell through the ceilings onto heads of diners in the restaurant. Meanwhile, water pounded card tables and flooded the checkered carpet at Planet Hollywood and parking garages. Water flooded through in waves as one point more than 17,500 customers was without power. So we're going to keep going. Then I'll speak on both of these topics. And then there was also flash flood warnings issued in East San Diego County. Severe thunderstorm warnings, including Mount Laguana. The National Weather Service of San Diego issued a flash flooding warning for communities in East San Diego County until 5:30 p.m. Sunday. Do not drive through flooded roadways, and NWS emphasized immediately move to higher ground and avoid walking and driving through flood. Waters, the NWS said localized flash flooding was expected from the storm rolling east of Julian. Mount Laguana is under a severe thunderstorm warning until 4:15 p.m. according to the NWS of San Diego, the they are they can expect they can expect winds of up to 60 miles per hour, and penny-sized hail is possible. A monsoon weather pattern for San Diego County was predicted to continue through this week, leading to daily risk of thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoons over the mountain, the NSS said. So, um, it's majorly dry in a lot of areas. Um, these areas um, are usually are areas that were dry, and the water, the um the ground itself had been hardening to the point that the water was not um, being soaked up. So the water was more like rock, which caused the water to run. Um, that's what took place again in Las Vegas, which caused flooding on the strip, flood and monsoon rains. As you see, they said that the water broke through the roof and was dripping on patrons, eating on their heads, on tables. So, um, they're getting hitting again. They've been hit again with some severe weather, and flooding from this monsoon weather, and they said that this been an extremely wet monsoon season this year in um, Las Vegas, and uh, also um, San Diego has been hit with thunderstorms. Um, they have had flash flood warning, and they're uh, really making it known to the people to go to higher ground. Please don't go through any flooding waters, any rising waters. Don't try to walk through them. Don't try to drive through them. And they've put warnings out there saying that they're expecting this pattern to go on for this week, and they have had uh, winds up to 60 miles an hour, monsoon winds in these thunderstorms. So um, you have thunderstorms, rain, different things taking place from these lower pressure, higher pressure that's taking place. What in one area, um, it's thunderstorms. Not too far from there, it's still fire. There's still wildfires. So it's a combination, and then um, you have areas that have thunderstorm or flash floods. Then you have areas that um, are um, in a drought. One of the worst droughts that they've seen in years, and many of years. So it's a combination. It's so many things taking place um, here um, with the weather, and um, how it's taking effect on each community and how it's you know bringing a destruction or uh, loss of revenues on these communities. So it's just something to keep looking on. We keep uh, speaking on the weather pattern, but we bring when I do my summary, we'll bring the angel perspective to this all because we still have another topic that is similar to these. Okay. Our next topic is one dead, 17 injured after car crash into fundraiser. Fundraiser crowd. At least one dead and 17 others was injured when a car crashed into a crowd gathered at a Pennsylvania bar to support the victims of a recent deadly fire. Those people that died or they was raising money for the 10 people that died in the Pennsylvania fire across town. State police said Kissinger Hospital confirmed in the statement that they were providing care for um, more than 15 patients, including 4 in critical condition. State police was called to the area near the intoxicology department bar in Berwick at about 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. Pennsylvania State Police Trooper Anthony Pistrowski told reporters police said a vehicle drove through a crowd at a community event. Troopers then received a call about a man allegedly assaulting a woman in neighboring Nescopic County. Nescopic County. Proskopsky said. He said officers arrived to find a woman dead at the scene. Officers detained the man who they said was a suspect in both incidents. Police said 24-year-old Adrian Reyes was taken into custody. Eventually, the 24-year-old Reyes was detained and denied bond. He used the car that he ran into the crowd with, hit her with the crowd, and then jumped out and bashed her head with plunged her head with an object and killed his mother. So he's locked up. They're still trying to find. They don't know the motive. However, that's a severe situation going on there with I don't know what's pressure causing people to snap. 24 years old. Then in that area, a fire that killed 10 people, a family of 10 people out doing a fundraiser for that, and someone comes through and mows down the crowd and kill another 42. What is a 42-year-old um, a 42-year-old woman? She was killed, and the other four people was in critical, and totally there was 17 people injured. So watching these type of events just constantly happen, these um killings, shootings, mass shootings, um, just people losing, losing their minds. Really, the pressure is breaking them and causing them to basically go insane. And they're this is becoming an ongoing thing every day. You know, from one day a woman getting so upset with her life, so much pressure, she drives down the street and barrels her car into going 80 miles an hour and barrels her car into oncoming traffic, killing 5 others in California. So it's just um, these things is just um, becoming like um, normal or more um, more seen more every by the day happening, you know. So it's really happening a lot more. I don't usually dig too deep into uh, these topics ever because I see so many of them, and, and I happen to see probably 2 or 3 more that I could have spoke on. However, this is just identifying with the time that how the pressure is causing um, those that have these weak mind, weak hearts. These pressures is breaking them, causing them to lash out and take lives. So let us move on to our next topic. Ukraine live briefing. Shelling near nuclear plant kills worker as world leaders call on Russia to retreat. Shelling near nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine continued through the weekend, threatening the security of Europe's largest nuclear plant facility and alarming the leaders of the leaders of 42 countries around the world who call on Russia to withdraw its troops from the hotly contested site, a valley of rockets struck the city surrounding the plant on Sunday, killing one of its foremen and injuring two other workers. Ukraine officials said 42 countries are calling on Russia to withdraw troops from Zaporizhia nuclear plant, according to a statement by the European Union dated on Friday and posted Sunday. The statement says Russia's military aggression at and near the plant poses a threat to nuclear safety. The latest round of shelling near the plant. So, just 42 countries are wanting Russia to pull away from the nuclear plant, um, which is, they're continuing shelling around this nuclear plant. The President Zelensky of Ukraine, it's weird because he said that if anyone is shooting anything at it or bombing the plant, that they're gonna face being thrown in jail because the seriousness of it. Now you can share with Russia to evacuate. However, they have occupied it and their military is controlling it. Now, it's the biggest nuclear plant in the continent. So, whoever has it occupied, it's still, basically it wouldn't make any sense for either side to keep shelling the nuclear plant, based knowing that if you conduct hit the plant and cause a radiation leak, that being a couple miles away is not going to save you. So it's not going to save nobody in the area with being the biggest nuclear plant on the continent. So much so that the residents and the people there have boarded up their windows and expecting radiation leaks, and they're expecting this to happen. It's just another thing to look at about how this war is, what's happening, and what they're willing to risk to make whatever point they're trying to make with Russia. If I understand if you have someone shelling you from the facility, a nuclear facility, and you're a few miles away, I wouldn't advise you or shoot you to shell or to bomb that area. You have to come up with a new way. However, You have 42 countries speaking or upset or sharing with Russia they need to basically return and move out of that area. However, I doubt that that is the plan of a military uh, commander or a person like um, Putin, because that's a control factor. That's an area of control and uh, a highly sensitive area at that. So, um, there's something to look on. Um, and we'll get back to this topic and get the understanding of it when we do our when I do my roundup. Okay. Our next topic. Let's see if I want to do this one. All right. And industry it's also its need thanks to the pandemic. Worst experts say that this is okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Pardon me. This thing 124. Okay, here we are. Okay. Just when you thought it was safe to get back into the to get back in the pandemic, snarled water, Europe is hovering, having another cataclysmic summer. This time, it's not pandemic red tape, but what looks like what what looks set to be the continent's worst drought in history. Around 63%, around 63% of the land across the EU and UK have either drought warnings or alerts, according to the EU European Drought Observation last week, and that figure was issued before the UK declared a drought in 8 out of 14 areas. New alerts are pouring in every day while the landscape is tender, dry. Water levels are plummeting. Rivers and lakes are drying up, and as well that having devastating effects on trade. And industry, it's also its needs thanks to the pandemic. It's also at its needs thanks to the pandemic. Tourism worsens. Experts say that this is a warning sign of things to come. The 766-mile Rhine is one of Europe's most important trade route, with container ships playing their way around this looping bends. It's also a classic cruise itinerary, but now some of those waterway dreams seem set to run around on Saturday. The water levels at the German town of Rube, a critical juncture, slipped to just 36 centimeters or 14 inches, according to official figures. That devastatingly low at 40 centimeters. Commercial shipping become unprofitable. So again, the weather, now as you see, the weather here is scorching. The worst drought that they've seen is taking place in Europe. It's causing wildfires. Beds of water, rivers, lakes are drying up. As they said here, it's this city was a area to where it has to do with cargo ships, container ships. It's one of Europe's most important trade routes, and the water is excuse me. The water is drying up, and it's getting to the point that where cruise ships and things can't get through there because it doesn't have the level of water that the ships can make it through. So it's definitely hurting their economy. And they're saying that this is what is a worrying sign of things to come. So this is a serious way to be coming out or going into winter, coming out of summer, going into winter, that or fall or winter, higher water levels are possibly not going to rise during the winter, and possibly can be a dry winter. But however, right now there's still just the lack of rain. There's still at record high temperatures at this point. So um, instead of rain or flooding, that's another part that is being beat, and they probably would love some rain, but they're not receiving rain. Um, they're are experiencing the worst drought in on record as they're sharing. This is the worst drought on record. Like I said, they're constantly battling with this drought. They're having wildfires. Fires are just flaring up over there from the drought, and the crops are being hit as hard as well due to lack of water. So um, just something to look at and keep note of, and we'll give the understanding in it when we do our wrap up. So let us move on to, or let me see where we at a time. Woo! We may be able to get this in and do our wrap up. The new COVID variant is shaping up to be a deja vu nightmare, a familiar mutation may give the COVID strand the edge it needs to wreak havoc. The world has built up a lot of immunity in the 9 months since the Omicron variant of the naval coronavirus 2 became dominant, driving a record wave of infecting the immunity from vaccines, and past infection is helping to keep down hospitalizations and deaths, even as Omicron offspring a succession of subvirus have become dominant one after one. Now the virus is trying to find a way around our antiviruses, anti around our antibodies. A non-subservient BA.4.6 is beginning to outcompete to procedures. Outcompete its predecessor, the BA.5. Its advantages include a particular mutation to the spike protein. So the spike protein, the part of the virus that helps it to grab onto and infect our cells. We've seen this R346T mutation before, and every time it appears, it's been associated with forms of the SARS-CoV-2 pathogen with an increased ability. Epidemiologists call immune escape. immune escape. That's what it is. So let's do our roundup. However, they haven't. It's a new variant once again, and they're saying this variant is trying to, it's building. Uh, this variant has built or found a way around the antibody and is building itself, and it's something to be looking out for those not to be watching. We keep sharing that the pandemic or the plague has not gone anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. As things move on, the plague is going to keep diversifying itself. It's going to keep mutating, finding a way to infect. Uh, to infect the uh, to affect Egypt, which is the it's been affecting the Caucasian, Asian, and Caucasian communities. It is passing over the the original black man. It's passing over Africa, Haiti. It's passing over those that have the blood of the Lamb. Everyone else, it's been decimating. It's been walking in and through countries, and they're saying now that it's another strand on the horizon that that they keep. Basically, the strand gets tougher, and this strand is supposed to be even as tough as or strong as the Omicron strand that hit 9 months ago. So, with the time, we know that that's what's going to keep taking place. Um, this is a plague. They're never going to um, find a cure, so to say. Um, they never this the jab that they're providing now is it's an MRI, and is a it slows down. It's supposed to slow down the virus, not keep you from catching it, but slowing it down if those that catch it, and to keep them from being hospitalized um, in any event. However, um, it's still, and they're saying that it's still around and it's still dangerous. It's and it's still what they said is infectious. It's still very I have to get that word. that is still wave. It's infectious. That's what they said, that immunity from vaccines or post infections is helping to keep down hospitalization and deaths, even as Omicron offspring successors of subvariants become dominant. So they're saying it's still um, right. It's still highly infectious. So, and it still has the ability to kill. So it's they're not going to be able to do anything with it. And um as we really get into this time that we're in now, this abomination of desolation, the shock of the hour that we're in right now, we're facing it today as we roll into the 15th, that um a decision has to be made from what they're sharing today with the JCPOA. Excuse me, JCPOA. So we know with Iran don't accept this JCPOA, then we know what time we are in. They must do what they're going to do, and which we know from the NGO is that's what's going to take place, and we know then that is going to be the spark that's going to bring the war in the Middle East. So we're seeing that taking place. The virus is not going not going to quit um, finding its way back. We're in the time of this JCPOA that is about to take place. Any it has to be reckoned. Really, they have given Iran till the 15th, which is tomorrow, and uh, we'll be able to see the outcome of that um, real soon. So keep your eyes on that and the other these other plagues or other viruses that are reoccurring, that are they're seeing and that um, they're having to deal with. And that's another thing that the unsealed scripture shared that was going to take place. These other disease. So disease areas that haven't seen certain disease, these diseases going to be reemerging, and disease stricken is going to be taking over areas, and they're going to be disease stricken throughout this time that we're moving into, throughout this unprecedented trouble, and you know, disease and um, um, unprecedented weather, you know, different, all these things is what you're going to be seeing in this time. So um that, and with constantly seeing um these weather patterns jumping up, flooding here, thunderstorms here, um typhoon, um monsoon winds and rains, um tornadoes, and all types of hail and different weather patterns, and we know what is causing the weather, this high pressure and low pressure, and these low pressure and the high pressure will seek out, and that seek out this low pressure, and it's forming these storms. So we know what's causing these storms, and who's controlling the weather, because the weather is controlled by um, our thoughts or our higher pressure. So just we don't want to get into uh, a science or lesson you're not ready for. We're just gonna keep this to uh, on our topics. However, then you have um, the situation with uh, so we started with, so make sure I catch up on all the topics that we did. Spoke on, oh, I already spoke on them. The the reoccurring, yeah, the reoccurring disease. So these is all the things that the unsealed scriptures had shared that was going to take place. Um, we should be very aware at this time of where we are, and we should be bracing ourselves to see what, in response to what Iran is going to do with the JCPOA. Something for you to very well put in your mind to. I looked uh, to find reports on the JCPOA and what has been shared over the weekend. Wasn't able to find anything. It's rarely um, do I find too many things outside of knowing from what the angel has given us and what we've seen and understand what's taking place from things that uh, are happening in the Middle East. However, trying to keep a data on daily activity inside of Iran and with Iran is very hard to do. Most media outlets that even speak or have anything on behalf of Iran is either the Wuhan or Gravites, outside media outlet from Iran, never an Iranian source, or you really have to basically hear it from either an Israeli false Israel report or someone in contrast, or Russia outlet. So to find out a lot of things about what's taking place with Iran on a day-to-day basis is pretty, it's almost um, it's almost impossible. They don't allow Iran's um, news outside. It's hard to get it. However, that is a, a, a topic that we should be all paying attention to on behalf of the black man and woman, because this is the JCPOA is directly the spark to what's going to cause the war of Armageddon, and that's where we are. So everybody should be paying attention to this to make sure that you can see, that you find out what day, what time it is, and that who is giving you the understanding of these things, or the truth of the matters beforehand. So what the angel, uh, the gospel of Revelation, the unsealed scriptures, is providing you with, and how we're taking uh, these topics and keeping them um, lined up with how um, and what is going to be taking place, and why these events, and why you see the weather like this, and why is it you see the weather in um, in Europe, and how it's affecting the economies, and what's taking place, and and just being able to get the understanding, the total understanding of how it really is affecting your reality right now for the brothers and sisters. Um, However, that is our newscast today. Tonight, um, that's our newscast for tonight. Um, Make sure that I can reiterate that to look and see. Keep your mind on the JCPOA. It's another sign, um, another event in time that is foretold through the unsealed scriptures of the outcome of what it is and what it's going to spark. So it's an event that when you see the event, and this event allows you, or should cause you to um, recognize that the truth is being shared to you um, far in advance, and should cause you to align yourself with the truth and put yourself in harmony with the truth in this time, so that you can be on time and in time, and get the understanding to what you need to do to accept your reward, or to uh, have yourself in harmony. Just taking the truth that's being given to you. You are the true seed of Abraham. We are the true seed of Abraham, and the Levites. We are the people that did this 400 years in um, this hell of North America, in this Holocaust, and this terror. We the ones that have been terrorized. So um, this is a pivotal point that you're um, being shared with far ahead of time, that has come, so you can witness it for yourself. This event, the JCPOA. So with that, I'm gonna bring this um, segment to a close, and I'll see you again tomorrow night at the same time, 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern, and 9 o'clock Pacific. And I'll greet you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.